Welcome back to From Content to Clients. This episode is going to be a little bit different. This one is for anyone who is tired of their work being dismissed, anyone who has had their business called a hobby or like their little project or shrunk down to something cutesy and never just called what it is. If you felt caught between those things, you're going to feel very seen for the next 15 or so minutes. Welcome to From Content to Clients. I'm your host, Sydney O'Brien, and this show is for busy, service-based business owners who do not have time to keep throwing content at the wall and hoping it leads somewhere for their business. Here, we talk about smarter content making, stronger messaging, and how to create content that actually helps your business get clients, especially if you are working in small chunks of time. A couple months ago, someone asked me now that my kids are all in public school when I was going to get a real job, which kind of drove me nuts because, just because this isn't a traditional 9 to 5 type of job doesn't mean it's not a job. And also on a larger scale, a lot of the people that I talk to and the people that I work with are mom business owners, right? This podcast used to be called Mompreneur Mastery. That was like a big part of my branding and messaging for a long time, up until just even a couple months ago. And I didn't change it because I no longer work with moms. I changed it because I've just kind of grown to hate the term mompreneur. But there is something that I like about it in that it speaks to the extra caregiving tasks that is typically assigned to moms in heteronormative relationships with children, right? So even if I were to quote unquote get a real job, and saying this, living in the United States, there's very little support systems for families. So especially families with disabled caregivers or disabled children or medically complex in any way, neurodivergent. I spend half of every day of my week bringing my kids to and from various appointments, as well as going to my own. I cannot think of a single full-time, 9 to 5 job that would allow me the flexibility to be able to do that every day of the work week, let alone the, early dismissals and teacher work days and all of the things. There's so many various situations that so many families are in where a traditional job just does not work for them. Even if you're not a parent, that's not always the answer. So getting that question drove me nuts, and I made a reel about it on Instagram a little while ago, and a ton of you agreed with me and are in the exact same boat. So I wanted to talk about it because it does tie into why I changed my podcast name and why I changed my business messaging away from working strictly with mompreneurs. Not that I ever strictly just work with mompreneurs. In fact, my done for you clients are not mom business owners at all. Not even everyone in my membership is, but it was a huge part of my messaging because it was a big part of my brand story, right? If you are new here, I started my business when my kids were 6 months and 2 and 4 years old. When my husband was deployed, I needed something to myself. I kind of felt like I lost myself in motherhood, and it was very isolating, especially with a husband in the military and moving to new places all the time. We moved to 4 different states in 5 or 6 years or something like that. I found a way as a stay-at-home mom to support my family financially. It was helpful for me emotionally. It helped me connect with other people in a way that I really needed and a postpartum period. And it was really helpful in that way. And I wanted to help other moms have that same great fulfillment kind of feeling. But I have grown to hate the term mompreneur. It makes the real work we're doing sound less like a business and more like a hobby. And I don't know about you, but I don't know that I've ever heard anyone call a man that owns a business who also has kids a dadpreneur. It's just a very cutesy term. And while I do like that it has this implication of, there's extra considerations going on, extra tasks and mental and emotional labor that is unseen, but still extremely valid. I don't like the sexism of it. And I mean, even the situation that I think it's something like over 80% of heteronormative relationships or like families with children, the primary caregiver of the kids is typically the mom instead of the dad. And again, in heteronormative relationships. And like, while that should not be the case at all, denying that it is and pretending we don't have all of these extra things on our plates is not helpful. So I certainly didn't want to erase that aspect of it. But even if you're like me and you're doing this part-time while caring for your kids and navigating a million different things, I don't want to erase all of that extra work and responsibility and labor that we are responsible for and doing every day. Even right now, as I'm recording this, I can hear my kids upstairs listening to an audiobook and coloring because I am working, but also still responsible for them. And if something were to happen, like they started fighting or someone got hurt, I would immediately have to stop doing this and go transition to that. Someone who is not the primary caregiver or doesn't work with kids at home typically would not have to do that. And not only is it like the time of, needing the time for appointments and early dismissals and all of the things, that kind of flexibility, but even having that flexibility plus affording childcare is nuts. I don't know about you, but where I live and with my kids' ages, if I wanted them to be in summer camp all day, every day, it would be over $5,000 a month. I think it was like $5,500 when I checked, which is just not doable for a lot of people. That's nuts. So many of us are trying to do all that we can to support our families in all the ways that we can, financially, emotionally, being present with our kids, being the best parents we can be for our kids, doing it in really weird times, politically, economically, all the things. And it is exhausting, like truly. And even though I'm not using the term mompreneur anymore, I will always understand that. And I will never give advice that assumes you have endless hours to work, not even the time, but like the mental bandwidth. It can be so draining caring for other people, anticipating their needs, doing all of that mental math all the time. I will never be the person that encourages you to post every day or several times a day, or tries to saddle you with any kind of plan that is too much for your schedule or your brain. Even if your business is part-time, it's a legitimate business. It's not just a hobby or some side project. You're doing amazing things for your family in, again, really weird times. And I hope you are incredibly proud of yourself and everything you have accomplished and everything you have grown from nothing, because a lot of us are very new to owning businesses. But we are out here learning and doing the damn thing and helping other people as well. So just know I'm proud of you. You should be proud of yourself. You're doing really great things, especially during these chaotic summer months. And if caring for everyone else means your own content is the thing that keeps falling off your to-do list, A, no, that's completely fine. It's been the same for me, honestly. And B, if you need help coming up with content ideas, don't forget I have the free Content Chaos Reset. I'll link it in the show notes. That can help you plan your content strategically across multiple platforms as well, which is always helpful. But I would love to know your thoughts on this. If you would send me an email or shoot me a DM on Instagram, I am at sydneyobrien.co. I always find it so interesting hearing people's thoughts on the term mompreneur, as well as the, moms in business and everything that goes along with that in general. I would absolutely love to hear from you. Thank you so much for listening. I will be back in your earbuds in 2 weeks. Thanks for hanging out with me on From Content to Clients. If this episode helped you think differently about your content, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's next. And if you're ready for content that's more strategic and less throw it together and hope for the best, head to sydneyobrien.com to learn more about working with me.